Well, you know, we're in a really big country, and if you're a dog person and you're looking for good information, good trainers, the proper ways to train and get the most out of your dog and your relationship with your dog, it can be tough in this country. As big as we are, there is no one unifying source. Everybody is free to buy a leash and get a collar and say, I are a dog trainer. And you know, if it's your first dog, you kind of got to go with them. So I want to get you into what I consider the most important word in the whole dog training world, especially for people first time starting out, whether you're doing obedience training, search and rescue, protection dogs, whatever. The one word that you should know, the most important word you should know in seeking out a trainer and in actually making progress while you're training is the word why. I got my first AKC dog when I was in the 6th grade, I believe, and I was promptly enrolled in the local AKC class. It was an 8-week course. 5 weeks into the course, my father pulled up, kicked me and Fritz, my dog, out of the car, and the teacher greeted him and said, Mr. Cappel, we'd like you to take your son home. Here's your money back. He's not going to finish our class. And my father asked, well, why is that? And the teacher said, well, we can't get much done because he keeps asking why. And you know, I spent the rest of my life asking why, and I think I learned a lot because of that. But here's the biggest thing I've learned now that we have this wonderful YouTube and internet. I can see a lot of people, a lot of examples of dog training. And again, there is no one source. Everyone who does dog training as a profession in America usually get their information or their education from a sport. Sports are designed to show a dog off for a specific purpose to a specific judge for a specific reason. Sports are not necessarily that applicable to everyday life and to working everyday life. You know, for instance, as you've seen some of our protection videos, just because a dog's doing one of the bite sports doesn't mean he's going to make a good police dog. In fact, some of the American invented sports will make a downright sorry police dog or protection dog. So here's what happens when we don't have or here's the reason why you should be asking why. When you meet your trainer, I spoke with an obedience trainer just this morning, and their source of information, they're very sincere about what they're doing, and they're good at the way they do it. But here's one of the ways they do it. She said this customer of hers was complaining about his dog not being sharp enough on his commands. And I said, well, what does he know? And she said, well, he knows leave it, he knows drop it, he knows no bite, he knows, I forget, 4 or 5 other things, all dealing with negative behavior. That's the way this trainer learned. But guess what? A mama dog weaning her pups teaches the dog all the discipline and all the commands he needs right there in that one instance. And let's think about it. Remember, they're speaking Doglish, we're speaking English. We've got to communicate. The more we can mimic Doglish, the more effective our communication will be. So how does a mama dog wean her pups? Well, that little critter got his sharp milk teeth and he crawls up to that soda fountain and he latches on, and them teeth hurt, and mama dog goes, arr, and she nails him. But that arr, it's one syllable. Dogs don't use vocabulary, they use sounds and tones, and body language, of course, chiefly. So people, when we're training our dogs with the leave it command and the no bite command and the drop it command and your pants are unzipped command and all these other commands, we're having conversations with our dogs. We're not communicating to them in an effective way. So if someone's giving you a lot of questions, if you doubt anything they're doing, or if you don't understand why that particular exercise, how it would apply to you in everyday life, that's when you ask why. Nothing more. These trainers are good. This is the way they've learned, but people need to start thinking more about how to communicate with the dog. Let's look at another example. Let's look at the people who say they're doing protection dog training. I've seen videos, it's become quite the vogue to have a dog, they always bite you on the armpit, right up here. I call it the deodorant bite. And then these guys will pick up these dogs and they call it putting pressure on the dog. And they bang him in a building and they drop him and they flip him and they hug him and they kiss him and they... You know what? If I'm training a protection dog, if I have a guard dog in my company and he lets somebody pick him up and body slam him, that dog wouldn't be around very long. So what happens is, when you're training all these extra commands that don't really have an application for you and your dog in real life, you're taking away time from training something that could be effective. When you're teaching leave it, drop it, sit it, everything else, you could have been working on a really good off-lead heel. You could have been getting control of your dog from a distance, but you're teaching such a huge vocabulary that you didn't have time for all that other stuff that you could use every day when all you needed was the word no. If you're doing protection training, this is where not only does it take your time, a lot of the things these guys do are downright potentially dangerous or harmful for your dog. So when you're looking for a dog trainer, ask him why he does what he does. When you've picked your trainer and you're actually training, stop at every exercise, and if you have any doubt in your mind as to how that particular exercise applies to your everyday life with your everyday companion, ask that one important word, why. If they can't answer it in 4 sentences or less, you might say, let's skip that part and go right to this part. So, a little short one for today. Hope we had some information from it. Hope it's going to be helpful to someone in the future. Maybe it'll protect a dog from being harmed in the future. Remember, protection dogs don't take pressure, they make pressure. So your dog should be hitting that guy and kicking his butt so thoroughly that he ain't going to be worried about pressuring the dog no how. And if there's anything else we can do in between, just write a comment, ask a question, call me out on anything I'm saying. But most important, like us on Facebook, share it on whatever, and please subscribe to YouTube. And we'll see you in a few days with some obedience training tips. We got a good one coming up. Join us on Thursday and see what you think about a little obedience tip no one's ever seen before.